Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture on reasoning ability and problem solving. In today's lecture, we will discuss some exercises questions from data sufficiency tests. Now, in the previous lectures, we discussed that what is data sufficiency. Data sufficiency basically means the sufficiency of data to find the answer, correct? To find the answer. Now, we do not need to solve the question. We just need to identify out of the given statements which are enough, which are sufficient to answer the following question. Correct? If there are three different statements, they can have three different answers as well. But if a statement is enough to answer the question, we will mark it as sufficient statement. Correct? So this we discussed in the previous lectures. Again, we discussed that there are two types of problems that can be formed in data sufficiency tests. Type 1 was based on two statements. So two statements are given to us, a question is given to us, and we have to tell whether these two statements are enough to answer the question or not. And then we had type 2, which is based on three statements. So in this case, we had three statements and we had to tell which all statements are necessary and sufficient to answer the following question. So in the previous lectures, we discussed type 1 in detail. In today's lecture, we will discuss type 2 in detail. Okay? So let us start type 2 based on three statements, question number 1. So this question has three statements and we have to identify which of them is enough to answer the question. The question is, who is the youngest among 6 family members R, P, Q, A, B and C? So there are 6 family members and each member has a different age. So even if they belong to the same generation, because whenever we solve questions on blood relation, we draw generation chart, family chart, correct? Even if we have people from the same generation, even though they are younger, but they are of different ages. For example, 15, 16 and 17. Okay, so this is given to us in the question. This detail is important, okay? Now, let us first start with first statement. The first statement tells us that R is daughter-in-law of A. So, there will be A, correct? They will have a male child and his spouse, that is R, which is female, will be the daughter-in-law of A. A's gender, we don't know, correct? A's gender, we don't know. In blood relation questions, we do not assume the gender, correct? Now, we are using different bonds. This identifies as spouse relation and this identifies as sibling relation, correct? So you can have your own way to make the chart. When I am drawing the chart, this is how I represent. Okay, now moving forward, B is the grandson of C, who is the father of P. So B is the grandson. So there will be three generations. Grandson of C. So B is male, grandson, correct? C is the father of P. So C is also a male. This much information is given in first statement. We have to answer who is the youngest. Can we answer who is the youngest based on this statement? No. So this statement alone is not sufficient, correct? This alone is not sufficient. Moving on to statement number 2. Statement number 2 says R is not the youngest, C is the eldest. So only this much information is given to us, that R is not youngest, correct? And R is not youngest, Y-O-U-N, okay. And C is the eldest. So this much information is given to us in second statement. Is this enough to answer who is the youngest? No. So this also is not sufficient, correct? Now, coming to statement number 3. Statement number 3 tells P is the father of Q. So P will be male, father of Q, correct? Q's gender we do not know. Q is the grandson of C. So Q is the grandson of C. So male and C we do not know the gender. A is the wife of B's son and Q's father. So A is the wife of B's son and Q's father. So Q's father is P. A is the wife of P, correct? A is the wife of B's son. So B will be over here. Correct? B will be the spouse of C and Q's father is B. So gender of C and B is not known to us. Now if I combine based on this information, statement 3, can we find the youngest? No, because we do not know where R will fit into this, correct? We don't know if R will come into generation 1, 2 or 3, correct? So this again is even not sufficient alone. Not sufficient alone. Now I am combining, so 1 is not sufficient alone, 2 is not sufficient alone, 3 is also not sufficient alone. Now I am combining first statement and second statement. So if I combine this information, this much information, first statement information with second statement information, is it enough? Again, no, because we do not know where R will come, where R will fit into this, and who will be the spouse of R. So this statement is also not enough. Combined 1 and 2 is not enough. If I combine 1 and 3, so A, over here it is given C, P and B. But over here we have C, P and Q. So these are contradictory. Over here B is the grandson and over here B is the spouse of C. Correct? In statement 1, C is basically the grandfather of B, whereas in this particular statement C is the grandfather of Q and B is the probably wife or husband. That is not known, but they are contradictory statements. So 1 and 3 is definitely not enough to answer the question. Now I combine 2 plus 3. So second statement plus third statement. So this is not given to us. C is the eldest, correct? C is the eldest. That means C, we do not need to know the gender of C. We do not need to know the gender of B. It is given to us that R is not the youngest. So R can come anywhere, correct? R can come anywhere. We just know that R is not the youngest. In this chart, who is the youngest? Q. So can we say that Q will be the youngest after combining second and third, because we have only 6 members in the family. 5 members are already there on the chart. 1 member is missing, that is R. And it is already given to us that R is not the youngest in statement 2. So on combining, I can clearly say that Q will be the youngest. Correct? So 2 and 3 will be sufficient to answer this question. Clear? So if I look at the options, the option number 1 says data in statement 1 and 2 are sufficient. So this is incorrect. Second option says data in statement 1 alone, 2 alone, 3 alone is sufficient. So this is also incorrect. Correct? 2 and 3 are sufficient. 2 plus 3 are sufficient. So statement 3 says 1 and 3 are sufficient. So this is also not correct. Option 4 says data in statement 2 and 3 are sufficient, but data in statement 1 is not sufficient. So this will be my answer. My answer will be option number 4. Clear? Now, moving on to question number 2. Question number 2, again, a question is given to us, 3 statements are given to us, and we have to answer which all statements are necessary, sufficient to answer the question. So it is given to us that there are 6 letters, W, A, R, S, N and E. Okay. And we have to find out whether answer is the word that is being formed after performing the following operations using these 6 letters only. So these 6 letters are used and we have to find out whether after doing these operations will the word answer be formed or not. Correct? Coming to statement number 1. Statement number 1 says that E is placed fourth to the right of A. So E is over here fourth to the right of A. So this will be my right direction, correct? And this will be my left direction. So E is placed fourth to the right of A and S is not placed immediately next to either A or E. So S will not come here, S will not come here, S will not come here and S will not come here. So I have a position for S which is this. Okay, correct? This much information is only given in statement 1. So is this enough to say whether answer is being formed or not? Definitely not. So this is not sufficient. 1 is alone not sufficient. So 1 alone is not sufficient. Moving on to statement 2. Statement 2 says R is placed immediately next either left or right to E. So it is either RE or it is ER. Correct? It is either RE or it is ER. W is placed immediately next either left or right to S. So either it is WS or it is SW. This much information is given in statement number 2. Is this enough to answer the question? Definitely not. So statement 2 alone is also not sufficient. Correct? Moving on to statement 3. Statement 3 says, I am writing the data over here for statement 3. Statement 3 says both N and W are placed immediately next to S. So we have either NWS or we have, immediately next to S. So we have either NSW or we have WSN because N and W are placed next to S. Correct? We know that the word does not begin with R. So if we have 6 letters over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we know that R will not come over here. Okay, the word does not begin with R. A is not placed immediately next to W. So next to W, we will not have A in either of the cases. This much information is given in third statement. Is this much information sufficient to find the answer? Definitely not. So this is not true. Correct? Now let me combine statement 1 and 2. So if I combine statement 1 and 2, I just know that RE comes together. So I don't know whether there is a place over here or there is a place over here. So we can get R over here also. We can get R over here also. Correct? Similarly, W and S comes together. So we can get W over here also and we can get W at this place also. So even after combining 1 and 2, I am not getting a clear answer. So this information, even after combining statement 1 and 2, is not sufficient to answer the question. Clear? If I combine statement 1 and 3. So now I am combining statement 1 and 3. So statement 1 and 3 says that it does not begin with R. Okay, it does not begin with R. And we can either have NSW or we can have WSN. But we know that W is not adjacent to A. W is not adjacent to A. So A is given over here. So we will have NSW. Correct? We will have NSW. So now I know that R is not at the beginning. So if I begin over here, I will get R, which is not the case. So R is at the end because there is no other place. It cannot be at the beginning. Correct? The word cannot begin with R. So this will be my arrangement. This will be my 6-lettered arrangement on combining 1 and 3. So based on information 1 and 3, I can say that we can find the answer. So my option will say that statement number 1 and 3 are sufficient, but statement number 2 is not sufficient. So if I look at the options, the option number 2, statements in 1 and 3 are sufficient to answer the question, while the data in statement 2 are not required to answer the question. This will be my answer. My answer will be option number 2. Clear? Now, coming to question number 3. Question number 3, again 3 statements are given to us. Question is given to us. Let us solve. How is Go written in a code language? So basically we have to find the code language of Go. If you remember coding and decoding, we did lot of questions like these. So I'm going to use the same approach. So basically if we have to find the coded word for Go, okay, we have to find the coded word for Go, I have to look at a statement which uses Go, correct? Otherwise, how will I find the code to Go? So if I look at statement 1, do we have Go written anywhere? Now or never again. So this is the coded words, right? These are the words that are being coded. So do we have Go over here? No. So how can I find the answer? So statement 1 alone is not enough. Correct? If you look at statement number 2, you come again now. Again, Go is not written anywhere. So how will I find the code? So statement 2 alone is also not sufficient. Now, coming to statement number 3, I can see a Go. I can see a Go. But how can I say what is the code for again, now or never? Can I find the code for again, now or never using this information only, using statement 3 only? Definitely not. So third alone is also not sufficient. But now I can see a word Go over here. So probably 3 and 1, 3 and 2 or all 3 will be sufficient to answer the question. 3 will always be there. Correct? 3 will always be there. Now let me check it with statement number 1. So in statement number 1, we have the words now or never again, correct? If I leave go, we have now or never again. So I have 4 codes over here: TOM, KA, NA, SA. And over here I can see NA, I can see KA, I can see SA, and I can see TOM. So the only remaining is HO. So go is coded as HO. This I can find using statement 1 and 3. Correct? So this much information is required to answer the question. So if I check third with, let's say, 2. If I check third plus 2. So third statement we have again now or never. Over here we have again now. But you come is extra. So we do not know the code for you come. So now we will have 3 unknown words: you come and go, which we cannot find the answer to. Correct? So this is also not sufficient. So only statement 1 and 3 are sufficient together to find the answer. Correct? If I look at the statements, I can see option number 1 says that only 1 and 3 are required to answer the question. This will be my answer. Clear? Now, coming to question number 4. Question number 4, this is a direction based question. We have to identify which village is to the northeast of village R. So let me draw the directions. These are the directions. Do you remember the directions? We did this in following directions. So this is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. These are your primary directions. These are your primary directions, correct? Then we have certain secondary directions. Secondary directions. Let me give them names. So this is northeast. This is at 45-degree angle from north and at 45-degree angle from east. Correct? This is southeast. This is called southwest. And this is called northwest. Correct? This is the directions. We have to identify which village is to the northeast of R. So basically R is over here. We have to find out which village will be in this direction from R. Correct? Now, let us start from statement number 1. Statement number 1. Statement number 1 says village S is to the southeast of village N. So if we have village N over here, it is to the southeast. So S will be somewhere over here. Village S is to the southeast of N, which is to the southwest of village P. So N is to the southwest of village P. Correct? P will be over here. We do not know that P will be in a straight line of from S or not. So let us take it over here. N is to the southwest of P. Correct? And P is to the north of Q. So Q can be anywhere. Q, we do not know the place for Q yet. So Q can be anywhere below P. Okay? So this much information is given in first statement. So we have to find northeast of R. R is not even mentioned in this statement. Therefore, this is not sufficient. In statement number 2 also, the information is given for T, Q and P. So this one also will be not sufficient alone. Alone it will not be sufficient. But what is the information given? Information that is given is village T is to the northwest of Q. So T is to the northwest of Q. Okay, this much information is given in first. This much information I am drawing for statement 2. So T is in the northwest of Q and Q is in the south of P. So Q is in the south of P. P can be anywhere above Q. Correct? This much information is given in second statement. Now let us look at third statement. Third, this much information is also not sufficient. The third statement says R is to the north of S. So R is to the north of S. Okay? And it lies between N and Q. So R lies between N and Q. Correct? And village N is to the west of village R. So N will be this side and Q will be this side. This much information is given in option number 3 or statement number 3. But still we cannot say that who is to the northeast of R. So this statement alone is also not sufficient. So 1 alone is not sufficient, 2 alone is not sufficient and 3 alone is not sufficient. But I can see R being mentioned over here. Okay, R is mentioned in statement 3. So it will be either 1 or 3, it will be 2 or 3, or it can be all 3 are required. Correct? Because it is mentioned only in third statement. So now I will make combination with third statement. So I am combining third statement and first statement. Okay, I am combining third statement and first statement. So if I combine this, I can see NS like this, Q like this. So this is being followed. Now we know that P is to the north of Q. So P will be somewhere over here. So if P is above Q, I can clearly see this is in the northeast direction from R. Okay, I can clearly see this. So based on statement 1 and 3, I can find the answer. Correct? I can find the answer. So this is based on 1 and 3. So this information was given in statement number 3. Now let us look at third and 2. Third plus 2. So third plus 2, we know the position of T, P and Q. So P is above Q. Correct? P is above Q. It is given to us that T is in the northwest of Q. So T can be anywhere over here. Sorry, T is to the northwest of Q. That means T can be anywhere over here, above this. But that is not relevant. We just have to find who will be to the northeast of R, and clearly on combining second and third statement, we can find that P will be to the northwest of R. Correct? Northeast of R. So this is also correct. So we can find answer either by combining first and third statement or by combining second and third statement. Correct? Now if I look at the options, option number 5th. Option number 5th says that only 1 and 3 or only 2 and 3. So either 1 plus 3 or 2 plus 3 are required to answer the question. Therefore, this will be my answer. Option number 5 will be my answer to this question. Am I clear? Okay. Moving on to question number 5. Question number 5, we have to find the code for cold in the language. So again, the same concepts that we did in coding and decoding. So I can see cold in just statement number 1. So I can clearly say that statement number 1 will be in combination with statement 2, or it will be combination with statement 3, or it will be all together. Correct? This much information will be required, because in statement 2 cold is nowhere written, so this alone will be not sufficient. 2 alone will be definitely not sufficient, so 2 alone is not sufficient. Similarly, 3, I can see that cold is not written anywhere, so this also will be not sufficient. 3 alone is also not sufficient. Correct? Now let me combine first and second statement. So if I combine first and second statement, I can see ice cream is cold, fruits are healthy. These are all different words. If I have to find the code for cold, I have to find the code for ice cream is. And that is not given in second particular statement. So I can say that even with combination of 1 and 2, I am not able to find the answer. Correct? Even with combining first and second statement, I won't be able to find the answer. Now I will combine statement 1 and 3. Okay, statement 1 and 3. Statement 1 and 3, I can see common is ice cream. This is common. And if I look at the coded words, I can see the common words are GIC and LIC. This is common. So coming back to statement 1, I can see the only code that is remaining is TIC. So the code for cold will be TIC. This will be my answer, and I am able to find this answer using statement 1 and 3. So this will be the correct combination. So my answer will be that statement 1 and 3 together are sufficient, but 2 alone is not sufficient. So I can see that statement only 1 and 3 are sufficient is given in option number 4. So that will be my answer. Clear? That will be my answer. Here is the solution. Coming to question number 6. Question number 6, again in a certain language. All this is given to us. We have to find the code of hard. So we have to find where hard is given. Hard is given in only statement 1. He worked very hard. Work is worship. He is very happy. So hard is given in only 1. So 2 alone is definitely not sufficient, and 3 alone is also not sufficient. So we will make the combination. So let me make the combination of 1 plus 2. If I combine 1 plus 2, the only common word I can see is work. Okay. If I combine 1 and 2, the only common word that I can see is word. So I can find the code for word. Word code is LI. Because here we have LI, here we have LI. Okay, this is the only common word. So based on 1 and 2, I can find the answer to the word, correct, but I cannot find the answer to hard. So this is not sufficient. 1 and 2 together are not sufficient. Now I will combine 1 and 3 together. 1 and 3, if I see, I can see he and very. These are common. He and very. Okay. If I see he and very, I am remaining with NA. This is common. And HA. So he and very is coded as HA and NA. Correct? This much information I can find. But can I find the answer to hard? Because work is not given to us. Okay. This was given in statement number 1 and 2. Now, if I combine statement number 1 and 3, I can find the code for he and very. But again, I am confused between the code of work and hard. It could be either TI, it could be either LI. This was based on statement 1 plus 2 and this is based on statement 1 plus 3. Correct? So, even with statement 1 and 3, I cannot find the answer. Correct? Now, I am combining all the 3 statements. So, if I combine all the 3 statements, now I have the code for work also. Work is coded as LI. Correct? Work is coded as LI. So, now the remaining word is hard. So, hard will be coded with TI. Hard will be coded with TI. And this information we can find out after combining all these 3 statements. These 3 statements are combined together. So, my answer will be, if I look at the options, my answer will be that all the statements 1, 2 and 3 are together sufficient to find the answer to the question. Okay, this will be my answer. So this concludes today's lecture. Thank you.